Today, we have finished up Capitalism. I talked to the boys last night about it. Needless to say, it was very interesting. By the end of the week, those who had made the most money just refused to work. As far as they were concerned, they had earned their time off. They didn't take out the trash. They didn't clean up after themselves. It was just a mess everywhere. They just littered. And you sit there and you take that to society in general. I mean, if you really, really think about it, people who have money are dirty. If they have enough money, they're hiring somebody else to clean up their mess. And if they don't, they're okay with living in their own mess to a certain extent. They're just dirty. And that's not everyone. I'm sure a lot of you are going, I'm not that way. No matter how much money I had, I'd clean up after myself. I'd take out the garbage. But you know what? Not everybody is you. There's a reason why there's signs down the interstate that say littering is a crime and it's $500 or $1,000 depending on where you're at. There's a reason for that. There's also a reason for, all the other little stupid laws that they come up with to stop people from being disgusting. That's capitalism. Sitting there watching Tucker this morning, and he brought up something else that, pretty much melted or intertwined with our little experiment about the two income earners in the house. And how, there's nobody staying at home with the kids anymore. And I look at the boys and what they did as far as they were earning money to be lazy. It's natural for men to be lazy. You want to be lazy. If you sit there and give somebody a chore, it's the path of least resistance they're going to do. Unless they're dumb. Because you've got some that understand the concept of work smarter, not harder. Most people will take that route. So when you see these two income earners, oh yes, if both of us work, we could take and have more things, do more things, or retire early and do nothing. Unfortunately, Uncle Sam had a different idea and raised the cost on certain things and increased taxes, which made two income earners necessary. Let's see here, I watched the boys as they made more and more money. More and more and more. By the way, we play with play money, so these figures are play money. One earned 65, one earned 10. This was after they paid their rent and their taxes. And one earned, I think he earned 45. Of course, the lazy one earned the least. But he did earn enough to pay his rent, pay his taxes, and have play money that he could pay to be on the internet and on, or pretty much just gaming in general, because if you're using electricity, you had to pay. Then now I sit there and the other two earned enough that they didn't have to work at all. Oh, I don't have to work. I need somebody to take out the trash, $5. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. The one who was poor, I'll do it so that he could go game. And you think about society and how that kind of intertwines in, since we live in it, they earn enough money to go spend it. Whether it's going out to eat, or buying some fancy phone, or a car, a toy, or something. And even, more deranged people, they go and buy the new stuff. They don't buy anything used. That's what they do. And there you go. That's our life. You sit there and look at society and you go, oh, why would anybody want to get out of capitalism? Because eventually it eats itself. That's how it goes. It eats itself. Because not everyone is smart. Not everyone sees the consequences of what happens if I just quit doing something. I guess the other side of that coin is, well, if government's not there to sit there and take from you, and you live in your own house, things will be different. Oh yeah. Then you start looking at things like, how does this person's actions affect the people around it? And remember, they get lazier. That's what happens. They get lazier. So if they can't afford to have somebody go dump the oil or the antifreeze in an area that's acceptable to everyone else around him, they end up poisoning their own water supply. That's why we have those laws. There's a reason why there's an EPA. Because they've got money. It doesn't matter. I pay my bills. There's a reason for laws. Because people can't be left to their own devices. Libertarians' great idea, but just let them do what they want to do. Minimal. But that's impossible because it's not how it works. Not everybody's that intelligent. That's just the reality of it. So which one, in my opinion, is best as for a societal thing? You could say it's monarchy because there's a parent aspect. Somebody has to tell you what to do because you're not smart enough or considerate enough to be nice to everyone else around you. It's so sad. And I guess that's why they had landowners, that you really couldn't tell what to do because they cared about the land. So of course they're going to have the rules of you can't dump that here. They were the EPA. It just really puts perspective in how things go. It really does. You want to sit there and go, well, everybody can have freedom, everybody can do. And the reality is, it kind of bites you in the ass when you go, well, not everybody. Some of them are real assholes and they're stupid. They'd fuck shit up. I guess the best mix would be a monarchy/capitalism. Well, we're going into communism/socialism tomorrow. That will be interesting on how that plays out, especially on the psyche, on the lazy, and the ones that like to work. I'll definitely be interested in sharing that one with you next week. But anyways, back to the capitalism. I did find also they figured out how their bidding went. They also got the idea of, because the cook would have to prepare and clean up because they was getting paid. And they realized, I can hire one of my brothers to do it. And they started doing that. Because you remember the laziness factors. Now the only ones that could hire somebody to do it was the ones that had money. The other poor one, when it was his turn to do the cooking and learn the experience of, charging people for money and then, earning it, he couldn't afford to hire anyone. So it didn't work out that way. But the other two, lazy, hired someone to do it. And guess who they hired? The lazy one. Because the other one who had money didn't want to do the job. And guess what happened? The lazy one cleaned, and then I would come into the kitchen and go, hey boss, your counters are a mess, and you've left out dishes all over the place. Well, I hired Nathan. I don't care who you hired. I'm just saying, you have to talk to me, you have to talk to your employee, and I'm pissed off. And there you go. Society, who works? Fast food chains? Typically lazy people. Typically. They're not stupid. They just do the bare minimum to get through life. And it's not a bad thing. It's just how the cookie crumbles. Because that's a natural state of the human psyche. It isn't normal for people to sit there and advance themselves like the two in there. My children aren't normal. I'm the first to tell you this. But that's how it goes. So yeah, for those who sit there and go, libertarian, capitalism, 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 it has its pros and cons. And eventually it does eat itself. Just because the human condition, it destroys itself, may not necessarily via financial, but through societal breakdown. And it's just sad. Reese liked it because, the idea of rewarding them via money was good. But I, on the other hand, I was just like, yeah, I get that part, but a mix of monarchy needs to be in that, because this is the insanity. Especially yesterday when it came to the trash, and he asked, where's blah, blah, blah? Yeah, blah, blah, blah. The richest one in the house. He decided he didn't want to work. You've got Nathan and, well, I shouldn't say their names, but I guess eventually you'll figure it out. Nathan and Wybie. Nathan and Wybie. The littlest guy and the lazy one. Short employees today. He wasn't quite ecstatic about it. So he's looking forward to communism because he's going to put them in the gulag. But I'm sitting there thinking, it's not going to be the best scenario either, because people aren't that stupid, and technically a lot of people are lazy, but they're not. You need to be treated fairly. I guess the concept of money shouldn't buy your responsibility, or thereof. Money shouldn't be able to buy your out of responsibility, I guess is the best way to say it. Responsibility should just be there, and that's where the parenting concept of the monarchy needs to step in and go like, well, we're glad you're rich, but you don't get to shit on everyone else because you have money. But we go back to the monarchy for those who have actually stuck around to listen to this part. Yeah, monarchies are bad when you have a tyrant. And there's the con to that one. The tyranny that can come from sole power, which I guess would be the best way of having landowners in that. You cannot just be one sole ruler. There has to be landowners, and landowners generally will care about their land and how it's treated and how the people are treated, because they get it. And the consequences of not is an uprising, and then you lose it all. And that's just literally, that's how society has to work. It cleanses itself every, 50 to 100 years. Oh, so we're due for a cleansing. It's been way too long in this system. Some fools have gotten into power, and it's time to kick them out. That's how it goes. So sad.